Kalara, I told you to keep your head down. Let Vara guard our rear. By the creators, are you hit? Get over here, let me patch you up or you'll burn right through. A few hallways. As if it would be that easy. We're down to 4 now from the 12 of us that entered. This has been the worst loss that I think I've ever had. At least in some time. The credits aren't worth this. Nothing is. Those were good soldiers back there. And now they're just ash lining the ground of the station. These things, the Soulless, only fought harder as we approached the control center. Not just harder, but smarter as well. It's like they were waking up, paying more attention as we got closer to our destination. I even tried to get them to stand down once, calling for a truce to see if they were mechanicals, just hiding their true self. But no, they didn't respond. Something is wrong with these things. They are soulless, I'm still sure of that, but they aren't attacking mindlessly. They have tactics, and I can't help but see a bit of light in their eyes. It's unnerving. One of mine, Malatak. He was a brute of an oak. He got a couple of them in melee range, normally an ace in the hole when dealing with slow-moving, soulless beings, because if you're like him and you're actually able to break them apart, you'd be able to do it right quick. Unfortunately, their reactions were on par with our own, and they systematically took him apart for underestimating them, chipped pieces away until he was nothing. No structure left, and by the time I gunned them down, they were just hacking at his corpse, and he was already gone. Most mechanicals I've met were unique. They like to tinker with their bodies and paint them too, give themselves identity. That's probably what's throwing me off here. They look the same, but they're just as agile and tactical as you'd expect, but each and every one are identical. Some might see the metal ones as less than, but not me. I've had a few proper mechanicals on my crew, and I've called a few of them friend. I know what they are. I know what they can do. So when I see these things, it's like seeing a corrupted version of them. There's no emotion in them. Well, with maybe the exception of malice. They resemble humans, at least from what depictions I've seen in my youth. Except they're featureless, identical to one another, pale white plastic bodies with internal machinery. They're durable, but maybe not as much as you'd expect. Plenty of delicate parts to aim at and rip out, break. It's what makes Soulless easier to deal with most of the time. They don't know or can't even comprehend their own limitations. Without a true mind, so they're able to get the better of them. But these ones?
Sir, can you have a look at this?
What is it, Vanico?
Just look at this one.
What about it?
Look at its irises. They're violet. It has, well, had, I guess, psychic potential, right? That's not possible for a Soulless.
Right? Yeah. That's, you got it right, Sprout. Something's definitely off about these things. I think they're being... Well, never mind, that. We'll bring the pieces that we can to the techies when we get back. Alright, everyone, we need to keep moving. Lara, prep the breaching charges. If you don't mind.
I hope you are doing well today. Today's video was about the mechanicals, perhaps the being with the most complex origin of all, for no one, not even themselves, not even humanity, knows truly how they came to be, for they are not simple artificial intelligences, if such a thing can be said, and at least not in a way that you might think. They are machine beings, that much is true. They contain souls, spirits, and are very much every sense of the word alive and sentient. The vast majority of them are very humanoid in appearance, and that is because of what they are, or perhaps a better word to use is were. For the bodies of the mechanical were not originally made to contain intelligence, at least not in the way that they do. They were originally avatar forms, durable bodies, basically suits for a person. A suit that, granted, could be controlled remotely through a quantum psionic link that allows for perfect instantaneous remote control. As such, the bodies were basically extensions of people throughout the galaxy. They were used for construction projects, or exploration, or just habitation in places where human life would not have endured so well. They were perfect humanoid tools, so to speak, and as such, most of them are forms that would be easy and natural to control as if it was one's own body. That being said, mechanicals are eternally curious of themselves, and endlessly seeking uniqueness. That, combined with the fact that many of their bodies may have specific attachments for whatever purpose they were originally made to do, makes each and every mechanical easily identifiable from one another. Now, one may wonder how these pieces of equipment, piloted by humans, gained a consciousness and sentience of their own. The truth of that is, it's not known. Some believe that their vessels were simply perfect for life, and life made a way into them. Others believe that the pilot that once controlled them, having been butchered while doing so, left some semblance of a spirit behind, something that we may speak later on. There is, however, a problem with the latter theory, and that is the Great Ring, a mysterious void construction, not near any star nor system. A place that, while clearly having been built by humans, does not appear in any records, nor contain any human remnants there. The Great Ring is home of the mechanicals, and where hundreds of thousands of them first awoke, and now, in current times, is the sole place that creating more mechanicals is actively being done autonomously. Mechanicals, perhaps due to the strange nature of their creation, are intrinsically introspective. Many have been alive for centuries, and the unlucky among them spent most of those centuries in isolation, as they came to awareness, perhaps drifting in the vastness of space. Having no need for food and taking in energy from solar sources, they survived forever, and only had their own minds to keep them company. And so many mechanicals have an unfortunately high likelihood of being eccentric, or perhaps outright mad. This has gained them a very strange reputation on the galactic scale, and sometimes they are treated as others, or lesser, due to their non-organic nature, combined with their strange mannerisms. They are responsible for the unity of the galaxy in a quite literal sense. For the Great Ring has control over the waygates within the galaxy, as well as control over many space installations as well, including one that humanity originally put in place to observe their growing creations, the other children species. And so mechanicals were born with broken and borrowed memories and incomplete intelligences. They came into existence in a place that allowed them to see all of humanity's creations and had access to untold records that seemed to contradict one another. Yet despite all of that, the mechanicals had a great debate upon that ring world, trying to understand what their purpose was and the purpose of their home itself for hundreds of years, trying to decide what they should do and if they could even do it, all while being attacked frequently and killed by the beings that they deemed the soulless, similar mechanical beings that did not contain the same kind of sentience or intelligence or emotion. For the soulless seemingly were driven only to kill living beings, including the mechanicals themselves. The discussion upon the ring world ended with the choice to reactivate the waygates, for the children species of humanity to gain access to faster-than-light travel, and evilly bound around the galaxy, propelling them all tens of thousands of years ahead of their own time in terms of technological progress. Because of this one action, it is uncommon for other species governments to actively have qualms with mechanicals, as they themselves are generally peaceful by nature and rarely the aggressors. Their growth is more or less fixed, and their ambitions being set on finding out who they are, both as a people and as individuals. That isn't to say they cannot be violent or aggressive or warlike. Certain bands and individuals absolutely are without a doubt. But as a collective, they aren't known to be particularly aggressive. The ring world itself is helmed by a shadowy council that little knows anything about, other than the fact that it exists and it does its best to keep the inhabitants of the gigantic space station alive. Other than that, the mechanicals are very collectivist. They do not have any particular needs, as you imagine, so most groups would see themselves as failing if others around them are injured or otherwise not doing well, and will strive to get them up and running, so to speak. And so, with that in mind, they do quite well on Unity worlds, their age often allowing them to have wisdom to guide and lead, their need for generally low, so they don't need to worry about the kind of necessities of life that others do, instead focusing more on the luxuries and experience. And so, many mechanicals simply come off as rather aloof, but they will more than likely have a reason for what they are doing, probably. And there you have it, the robots of our future. Hardly cold, calculating automatons. They are in fact searching for life and purpose, perhaps more than humanity ever was. They experience the entire range of emotions, and find them so important to their very being, they put them on full display purposefully, rather than packing it back down. And so let us end with how they see humanity. They quite simply are confused when they look at us. Some have flashes of memories that almost seem like human life after all. And they were not created purposely by humanity, as far as anyone can tell, so they do not revere them in the same way that others might. Perhaps it's best simply to say that they are curious about humanity, that they see them as the first to have a crack at life, and wish to explore the idea alongside them. If nothing else, they are another species that can be learned from. While humanity is by far the least populated group in the galaxy, it can be argued that mechanicals mesh best with them when cohabitating with them, having, honestly, quite a lot in common. Thank you for listening. We are nearing an end of the introduction series, with only us, humanity, the survivors at least, or the descendants, to come. So please, if you are not subscribed and you are listening to this, I ask that you do so you do not miss our final entry into the beginning of Voidborne. Until next time, have a wonderful day.